It's another early start to the day. We are in mid-spring. We've got a cloudy day ahead of us at some point later on, but we still have lovely blue skies at the moment. And we have some more planting to do. Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Fendt Farm. We're on day 4 of spring. And we do have one field left that we haven't planted on just yet, which is field 20. And I'm still kind of unsure exactly what I want to put on this field. We also have a couple of fields that we need to plough today. That's fields 18 and 27. Need to get those ploughed so that when the planting window for corn opens up tomorrow, we can put some corn down on these fields for chaffing, so that later in the year, once it's grown, we can make some silage here at the BGA for selling. And we can also make some silage from this field down here for our cows when we buy some cattle. So what crop am I going to put on here? Well, we have some wheat, we have some barley, we have some beets that we planted yesterday, and we also have some canola, which I'm using as a substitute for triticale. I suppose we could do more canola. I don't really want to get into soybeans on this farm if I can help it, and that's a little bit too big a field for potatoes, I think. So it's going to be either wheat, barley or canola, and I think, let's see, I think we'll go with canola. We'll make that a second triticale field, in inverted quotes there. So let's head over to our main farm over here. We're going to pick up one of our seeders, pick up one of our tractors and seed that field, and then when we've done that, we'll grab a plough and we'll work on these two fields, get these ploughed ready, as I say, for day 5 when the planting window for corn opens up. Lovely looking sort of colours here. That just looks so nice with that low sunlight shining on those trees there and those plants. We'll need to re-weed our grass field again tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow our crops will start growing as well, so we'll be able to do some fertilising with the lead. We haven't used that yet. Haven't had a need to use that yet, as everything we've planted has been planted with a seeder that also plants fertilizer as well. So looking forward to breaking that out and having a run around on the farm with that. And here we are at the main farm, a nice leisurely drive first thing in the morning to get us here. Let's get the gate back. Once again swing into our executive parking spot. A little bit wonky. Turn the indicators off. There we go, that looks pretty good, I think. Oh, well, not bad. There we go. Perfect. So which tractor shall we use? Well, we're using the Evo. So I think we're going to need to use the not the T9, the 939. That I think needs 330 horsepower to pull it. That's beyond the capabilities of our two little 800 Varios here. So we'll open the gate. Let's close that door now. Let's jump in. I think we've still got a good amount of product inside here. Yeah, we've still got nearly 1,000 litres of seed. Sorry, fertilizer, and what, 750 litres of seed. We're going to need a lot more seed than that. That's for sure. Do we actually have any fertilizer still inside the seed tender? I can't remember. Honestly, can't remember. Let's take a look. Yes, we do. 2,000 litres. Okay, so let's get that out, and we'll top up the fertilizer using this. I don't think we'll need to top up the seeder on the field, but you never know. This is a really tight gap. I should probably do this and back out. There we go. Unfold. Back up through the wash area. Change to fertilizer. There we go. And there we go, topping up the fertilizer tank to the point where it's actually overflowing again. We've done that a couple of times now. So we'll get everything folded away again. There we go. So I'll close the door. Excellent. Now we just need to add some extra seed and then we are good to go planting triticale, in inverted quotes, on our fields. There we go. I was paying attention to the financial log when midnight ticked over, and we made 2,700 and change on income from our community area. So not as much as I was expecting. We had a full day and we made 2,700. Still doesn't cover the cost. It covers about half, just around about half, just over I think half the cost of our equipment in terms of daily fees. So at least it's a good sort of dent in those sort of operating costs. Any money we can save is always, gratefully accepted. Which way do I want to run to plant this? I think it's this way, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to need to start. Still indicating. We're going to need to start to work from this corner here because of these trees here. Now in the future I may possibly strip out some of those trees and then just reshape this field a little bit, but for now I'm just going to leave it as is. I don't want to go too crazy. I just want to get our initial stuff up and running. At the end of year one is when we can start to look to make some major changes to our land. We've already made quite a significant alteration to one of our fields by linking fields 10 and 22 together. Don't need to do the same everywhere. We don't need to really go too crazy. But this is a bit of a weird shaped field and those trees are a little problematic, so we may possibly remove those in the future. What I'm also going to do is I'm actually going to put a boundary seed along the bottom here. I'm just going to change my cruise control settings to 9. There we go. Match the speed of the equipment in operation so that I can lift and make these turns without a sudden jolt of acceleration, and then have that jarring sort of shudder when we slow back down again once we turn the equipment back on. I'm going to do this kind of border pass around the bottom here again. We've got these trees that separate out our fields. I'm not going to remove those. I like those trees there, but in the future we may possibly join these two fields together. I don't think we will, because it then obviously gets rid of an access road, but we do have that possibility if we choose to take it. There we go. So it's been a couple of days now. The Ropa DLC has been out since the DLC was released. It came out on Tuesday. It's now Friday. Let me know if you are excited for it, if you're using it, or if you're deciding that you're not going to bother with it. I am curious as to how many of you have actually decided to use it and how many of you don't want to use it at all. And if you are using it, let me know what map you're using it on and what your favourite piece is. For me personally, the absolute star of that is the Navarro mouse. That thing is just incredible, and we will be getting one on this farm later in the year. We'll be using it a little bit at the BGA. We'll be using it on our main farm over there. You know, the ability to load up, you know, all sorts of different products, you know, including loose grains and TMR and silage and chaff. You know, it's going to be really useful for us when we actually start chaffing our corn, so we don't have to make, you know, long trips to the BGA and then dump it all in the BGA bunker while we've got the workers sitting on the field waiting to continue chaffing that corn. We can dump it at the side of the field, get straight back on there, and then once it's all done, we can then scoop it all up with that Navarro mouse and transport it over to the BGA without those kind of pressures of keeping the forage harvester functioning. So really looking forward to bringing one of those onto this farm in particular, but I'm sure I'll end up using it on some of my other farms at some point in the future as well. We paid a special trip over to Big Bud Farm to take a sort of a more in-depth look at the DLC, and I hope you enjoyed that. I recorded that on the day it came out, sort of early afternoon, and then, you know, went out and did some jobs that I had to get done, and then released that on the Wednesday once I'd finished editing it Tuesday night. Speaking of Big Bud Farm, a lot of people have been asking, you know, asking me to move Big Bud Farm to a new map. Now, I had been toying with the idea of moving Big Bud Farm a little while ago, but I wanted to kind of see out that sort of field challenge that I'm doing, and I still do. I still want to see out that challenge of owning all of the fields through nothing but sheer hard work. And we are very close now indeed to owning field 2, which then just means field 4 is the only one that remains. And having already fully discounted that field down to 6.4 million, you know, a couple of good harvests will bring in a nice amount of money. Some contract work will help, you know, get us a bit closer. Another big silage run perhaps. You know, it'll take a little bit of work, but we will get there and we will own all of those fields. But the future of Big Bud Farm is still a little undecided, and it got a little bit more complicated recently as well in terms of what I actually plan to do. Now, I fully intend at the end of the current year that we're working on seasons on American Midwest to move that and make that American Northwest. So that means we'll be moving up Oregon way. Now, there are 2 maps coming out that are real contenders for that. There's obviously Oregon Springs, another map by NLD Farmers, the same guys who did this map here, GreenRiver. And whereas Bart featured quite heavily in the making of this map, it was Richard from NLD who was mainly responsible for Oregon Springs. So there's that possibility for American Northwest. There's also Lone Oak Farm, which is in this very similar region, and I am considering, you know, obviously I'm waiting to see what that map looks like, and I may well be moving one of my farms to Lone Oak. Now, the kind of initial plan was to move, as I say, American Midwest and make it American Northwest, and move over and take a look at setting up on either Oregon Springs or on Lone Oak. Then the idea came to me that, well, maybe what I could do is I could move American Midwest to Oregon Springs, and I could move Big Bud Farm to Lone Oak. And then we got the announcement of South Mountain Creamery, and I thought, well, now I'm kind of a little bit stuck, because now there's another really good American map coming by the look of it, and again another map that is based on an actual location. So that then became a real contender for the future of Big Bud Farm. And I forgot something I found out a while back and then completely forgot. A couple of days ago, it was brought back to my attention. Welker Farms obviously is a real farm. It's a very popular sort of viral farm. They like to put up footage of them using big buds and their harvests, etc. over the years. They have been working in partnership with Mapper's Paradise to actually recreate Welker Farms on Farming Sim 17. And it's close. It's only around 3 or so weeks away, apparently, from release. Now, obviously that's going to be a PC release initially, but it is also being slated for a console release as well, which means now there's another map that demands serious consideration as the next home of Big Bud Farm. How can you not consider Welker Farms, as the home of Big Bud Farm when it is a genuine farm that runs big buds? I mean, it's almost like it's meant to be. And obviously, we need to see a lot more about that map before we can even make a decision. And it's difficult to know what's going on with South Mountain Creamery as well. Obviously, since Black Sheep started putting this embargo on releasing information in terms of potential release dates and how far along a project is, we have absolutely no idea how far away South Mountain Creamery is. Now, I really, really love the look of that map, and I loved old streams, and I'm playing on the valley and loving the valley. Two Black Sheep maps that are absolutely amazing to play on. And I have absolutely no doubt that South Mountain Creamery is going to be just as good, if not even better. But I don't want to sit and wait 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 and wait, just on the off chance that the map might be coming out very, very soon. So we're going to take a look at Welker Farms when it comes out. Assuming it actually does make it to consoles, we'll take a look at that, and that may well become the future home of Big Bud Farm. But it's going to be a bit of a toss-up now. It could be, potentially Oregon Springs. It could be Lone Oak Farm. It could be South Mountain Creamery, and it could be Welker Farms. There's 4 potential locations now for us to relocate Big Bud Farm to in the future. So yeah, that just got a whole lot more complicated. And we're going to have to kind of weigh our options up in a few weeks and take a really good look at what is going to be available as we get closer and closer to the completion of our first season, of our first sort of main objective of owning all 4 of those fields. As far as the future of this farm, well, this farm is literally, a brand new farm. This is going to run for at least 2 full cycles. So we're in the first cycle, we're in spring, we've got summer, autumn, winter to go, and then we'll be going into the second year, do the same again, and then we'll reassess at the end of year 2 and see where we are and what is available, and whether or not we want to up sticks and move. I've had a lot of people asking me as well, am I going to do a farm on Oakfield? As much as I'd love to, I just, at this current stage, just cannot fit that into the schedule. It is a cracking map. I absolutely love that map, but I just do not have the time or space in my schedule to run a Let's Play on there as well. With Big Bud being once a week, American Midwest twice a week, that's going to become American Northwest probably in about a month's time. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit sooner. We also have, as I say, Seasons in the Valley. That's just started year 2, so that's got another 12 months to go, so to speak, before we look at readdressing that farm. And then of course we've got Pure Farming that has been released, and I'm trying to do some regular gameplay footage for you on Pure Farming as well. I just don't have time to even think about trying to squeeze yet another Let's Play in on top of everything else that we're already doing. So as much as I'd love to feature that map because it is a cracking map, I just can't, unfortunately. But it is definitely going to be confirmed. Converted over. David has confirmed he will definitely be converting that over to Farming Sim 19, and we may well visit Oakfield as soon as that gets released on Farming Sim 19. So we will feature the map at some point in a Let's Play. It's just a question of whether it's this version or the next version of that map. Right, I'm going to continue to seed the field here. I've whittled on for a fair bit. I'm going to jump ahead and I'll catch up with you in a short while. Clouds are well and truly set in, and I'm starting to wonder if I am actually going to have enough seed to make the rest of this field. As you can see, I'm down to the last 230 litres in the tank, and I still have a fair few passes left. I don't think I'm going to make it. I might fall just a touch short and have to sort of top up for like a single pass or something like that. It's getting very, very close. A little sort of squeaky bum time here. And once again, visibility is just absolutely atrocious. As you can see, I didn't have enough seed, so I had to bring the truck just to make sure that we can actually get this field finished. I've got the seeder parked up somewhere along the end of the field. There it is. You can just see it through the gloom and the fog and the clouds. Still putting in fertilizer. Fertilizer's full. Switch over to seed, and I know that's going in the same tank. That's because I thought I was on seed by default. That's my mistake. There we go. That's our seeder completely refilled. So we'll just move the truck out of the way. Lights off. There we go. We can jump back into the 939 and finish seeding away here with our triticale field. And here we are, just finishing this field off, and you can see that just doing this last few passes has eaten up 400 litres of seed already. The seeding rate for canola is absolutely ludicrous. It just eats so much seed, way more than it used to on Farming Sim 15. Not quite sure why it is suddenly so much higher. I don't know if that's a step towards realism or a step towards trying to balance the economy a little bit. But there we go. We have finished seeding the last of our crop fields. So all we have left to do now, until they are ready to be harvested, is just fertilise them, essentially. Spray each of our crop fields as they continue to grow, and to keep weeding our grass. Obviously over the summer we're going to be doing some grass work. And then we will get into some corn chaffing as well. And I say crop fields, obviously we still have 2 more sort of fields to plant, but they are not going to be used as crop. They're not stuff that we're going to be storing for selling. That's corn that we're going to be chaffing. Oh, we're stuck behind a car doing 18 miles an hour here. Makes the turn off on the loop. We're going to pull in just here. Now you may remember I had some issues with a barrel that just kind of went a little bit haywire. That orange barrel there, you can see it's reset. Now there is also a bucket that lives just here, and that has now gone haywire. And somehow I managed to clip that, and that went on its big spinning circle through the ground and back out again like that, and is now somewhere. I don't know where. It might even possibly be inside this building. But they do seem to reset themselves every time I load back into the map, so it's not like they get lost or wedged into a permanently awkward position. But for a little while, you know, it did look like I was going to have a bucket just floating in midair, and then it kind of just rotated round a little bit more and disappeared, and I haven't seen it since. So no doubt that'll reappear next episode once we load up and come back to this farm. The next time we up here, you know, that bucket will be back in that corner. It'll reset itself. Very strange. I don't know why some of those objects seem to do that. They just have this kind of weird pivoting arc that they spin on, as opposed to actually just being placeables that we can actually sort of interact with, even just to pick them up and throw them around. Some of them in there's a sort of a black trash can, and that does have that kind of standard physics that we're used to, where you can just pick it up and throw it around a bit, using these windows to line myself up. There we go. Lights off. Need to bring the truck in as well, and then we're going to take the 280 here. We're going to take that out. We're going to grab one of the plows and make our way over to both field 18 and field 27 and start ploughing those up. Just thought I'd take a quick look at my animal tab, seeing as I've just restarted my Lely Juno to get all that grass cleaned up. So the cleanliness, you can see 75%. That's going to increase as you know very quickly as time ticks on. Now that the Juno is restarted, running a little low on water, so we'll have to top them up towards the end of the day. We've still got plenty of feed, as you can see. And we're making wool, and also we are in lambing season as well. Look, we started with 50 sheep, we're up to 55, so we are actually gaining additional animals. I completely forgot that we were in lambing season, so yeah, a few extra sort of little woolly feet running around in there. I wonder what we'll end up with before the lambing season finishes. Alright, so let's grab a plough. Let's get the weight first, there we go. Oops. And off we go to field 18 first, I think. That's the closest and easiest to get to. Let's get some lights on. And beacons as well, because we do have a wide plough. And here's our turn. Let's turn the beacons off again. So just along here, this is the bottom of field 18. This is our kind of odd shaped field. This one has kind of a weird little sort of angled section just here, which you can see, this little triangle on the edge of the field, which is a little strange, but it kind of follows the contour of that little shape there. So that's that bit. And then on the opposite side, you can see it follows the road around up there as well. So again, it has another kind of weird little sort of section over there, which is a bit peculiar. It's a very strange shaped field, this one. It's not the friendliest for workers. I mean, there's a long section in the centre that's nice and straightforward, but there are a few weird little places for workers, so this is definitely one that we're going to have to do quite a bit of manual work on. Not just in terms of ploughing, but also cultivating, seeding, fertilising, and of course running the forage harvester in places as well. And I'm going to be getting in some different trailers as well on top of the Vin Hewis trailer that we already have. I'm probably going to relocate that one over to the animal farm and leave that down there for whenever we need something down there, if we're moving with loose material or silage down at that particular farm. The other trailers I'm going to look in are from another Dutch company. They're actually mods that we've had on the system for quite some time now. They're I think I'm pronouncing this right, Kaweco. They are a brand that kind of specialises in kind of high-end equipment. They do a lot of work for class, and they have a lot of trailers designed for for forage, that kind of thing. And we have a couple of different Kaweco trailers available that were done way back. Ooh, I would say probably about a year ago, I think, when they came out by Smetty. And I think there was one that was a co-op with another modder as well. So we'll be looking to add at least one of the two Kaweco trailers. There's one that has a capacity of about 32,000, and the other one has a capacity of about 40,000. The 40,000 is the one that we'll be adding and storing at the BGA, so that we have that for our forage harvester. And I'm not sure what I'll do if we're going to need the other one as well. But if we do, I might leave that at the main farm, so that we have a trailer at each farm. Because at the moment we just have that one trailer. Everything else is kind of, we don't have one. So when it comes to doing seed, we've got the seed tender. We have our truck for unloading or transporting grains, but I think it'd be nice to have some actual trailers that we could pull behind the tractors, and then we could use the truck as just a transport system when we go to market. I don't know, I think it would be better as well to actually have tractors with trailers running on a field alongside a combine than a truck, so do less damage to the field that way. So yeah, we'll be adding some Kaweco equipment. Well, I say at least a Kaweco trailer, maybe two, to the farm in the future as well. Alright, this field is going to take me a little while to get ploughed, so I'm going to start jumping ahead a little bit, and I'll catch up with you when we've made a bit more progress. And we're making some decent progress on the field, and the weather has changed. As you can see, the sun is starting to come out. Just catch that last little patch just there. So we don't need our lights on anymore, but still a lot of field to go. And also that awkward patch up there around by that railing, that is going to be quite tricky, I think, at least to get the furrows in the right way. So we might have to do some more sideways ploughing, which I do hate to do now. We'll see how we get on. Still soldiering away on this field, as you can see. We've made really good progress and we've cleared out a good chunk of it, but we've still got a fair bit of ploughing to do, and time is slipping away from us. It's already gone 1:30 in the afternoon. We're approaching sort of 1:45 and daylight isn't going to last too much longer, even though we are sort of now into mid-spring. It's still spring, so it's going to be getting dark around about 7 o'clock. It's going to end up being a very, very long day indeed if we stick to just one single worker, us basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring out the other Fendt. I'm just going to park here for a second while I do this. So we're going to get the other Fendt Vario up and running, the other 800. Going to take him over to the other field. He'll get started on that field for us, and when we finish on, because we're on field 18, when we finish on field 18, we'll clean and put that tractor away, and then we'll resume control of this 800, the 826 on field 27, and we'll manually finish off 27. We're just kind of starting to run out of time a little bit, and we need to get the ploughing done today, because tomorrow we're going to be planting the corn for chaffing. So with time becoming a more and more precious commodity today, it's kind of having to deviate from the plan a little bit, and as I say, rather than just doing all of the work ourselves today, we are going to have to call in a little bit of backup, as you can see. Let's make our way over. Oops, just clipped the post there, not good. Let's get my beacons on. So, where do I need to cut through? I need to cut through here again. And then turn left, go past Blacker Hall, and then access the field from there. That looks to be the way to do it. So unusual to see big crop fields like this in the first year of seasons. Well, technically it's our first year, but it's not the first year of seasons. I say it's year 2, which is why these crops are looking so grown. Alright, so here is our field. You see we've got this dirt road that kind of runs all the way around it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start at the opposite end, so it's got a nice large straight area which should be reasonably AI friendly. So this way we can just kind of leave him to his own devices. He'll do a nice good chunk of this field for us, and then we can come and finish off a little bit later. So let's drop the plough. Worker is off and running. Excellent. Right, back to the 828. And let's crack on and get this field finished as quick as we can. So, finished the main bulk of this field now. It's just this awkward kind of angled piece here on the end that's left to do. It's a lot of ground that we've ploughed, and we've still got a lot more to go as well. Not just on this field, but obviously on our other field that's being worked on by the 826 as well. So definitely putting some hours on these Varios this morning. Well, this afternoon now, as you can see. And we've got to cultivate these 2 fields as well before we can plant on them. Well, we don't technically have to, but you know how I am. I don't like to seed onto ploughed furrows unless it's a direct drill seeder, and the Maestro is not. So we are going to have to do some cultivating. We'll do that tomorrow before we do the seeding, so I'm not worried about getting that done today. But I am still umming and ahhing as to whether or not to keep the Joker. I've been reading some of your comments and your feedback. Someone suggested trying with wheel weights to maybe give me a little bit more sort of stability at the rear, and I might do, but I don't know. I'm thinking it might just be a lot easier to just replace with a different cultivator. So that kind of opens up a few options as to what do we do, and I want to try and keep that sort of 12 meter ish kind of working width. So the most obvious sort of replacement would be the Lemken, which is a 12 meter cultivator, slightly less on the power requirements as well, 300 horsepower. So we could possibly get away with using this 828 because this map is quite flat, so the power requirements, you don't need to have that little surplus of power on the flat maps, although it always helps. So we have a few options. This is going to be really awkward actually. I'm going to have to do this. I don't like doing this, but it's just so close with that barrier, that Armco just there, that I don't really have a choice. I'm going to have to put in a barrier around the edge, you know, a sort of a border like this. Not, as I say, I'm not a big fan of doing this. I prefer to try and keep the furrows all looking nice and neat, but we'll correct them where we can. But it's just, you know, with these trees and that barrier back there, and obviously these light posts as well, you know, for the street lighting, it's just a little bit too cramped. So little border required. We're okay at the other end. I can avoid those trees, and we've got enough of a runoff area. And there we go. So I've been doing a fair bit of ploughing on Pure Farming 18 at the moment as well, and so much better than this. I mean, this is a much easier experience to plough. You know, we've got a great choice of implements, and you know, the mechanics are, you know, are good, and we can obviously plough in different angles and directions quite comfortably and turn, you know, easily as well. But the texture, I mean, it just looks bland and it looks uninspiring and flat, and we've got full 3D plough texture on Pure Farming, and it's just so much nicer than this. It really is. You know, it's so much better. And I was doing some potato planting as well, and the potatoes were planted in 3D as well. I mean, we don't have deformable terrain, and that is obviously the big wish for all the farming games, is to have deformable terrain. Cattle and Crops is going to have that, and you know, from the tech demos that they've released, and you know, the videos that they've shown, it looks incredible. And that's the dream for Farming Simulator, that we'll get that kind of, you know, deformable terrain. I don't think we will. I'd be amazed and disappointed and a little angry if we don't get 3D field textures from Giants in Farming Sim 19. You know, they're overhauling their graphics engine, you know, quite comprehensively. They're you know, boosting their, you know, capabilities of what they can do. Yeah, and they've been doing this for, you know, a long time now, and for us to still be stuck with 2D textures, you know, at this sort of stage in their sequence of games, is starting to get a little bit ridiculous. I mean, they look a lot better than they did in 15. In 15, the plough texture was horrible, and the cultivating texture wasn't that much nicer. These much nicer than they were last time out, but everyone else is doing 3D textures or deformable ground of some type, and Giants are still stubbornly sticking to these 2D textures, and they need to step that up. They need to go 3D. It's getting time, and it does make a huge difference. Almost done. I see the wheels spinning there on the mud. Right, there we go, we've finished. So let's quickly just check how good a job I've done. Let's go to the soil composition chart, and I'm not seeing any little red spots anywhere. That's excellent. Right, Time is ticking away, as you can see, 4:30 now in the afternoon. Sun is already starting to gradually set. You can tell by the angle of the light hitting our vehicles. So we need to kind of crack on our other field and get that done as quickly as possible. Let's see, how much has our worker done for us? He's done a fair amount, as you can see. He's probably done, whoops, he's done about 2/3, well, 3/4 of that big straight section. There's just not a little bit left, and then it's kind of the awkwardy bits coming up that are going to take some issues and some time to do. So we'll start here. I think is going to be the easiest thing to do. There he is. There, look, you can see, just running up and down on the field. We'll leave him going because, as I say, this is taking longer than I thought it would do. So we'll start working at this end of the field. We'll start working our way across towards him, and we'll try and get all this awkward stuff done, and leave him to deal with the easier, more straightforward stuff. So, not a huge amount left to do, as you can see. So I'm actually going to take this tractor back to the farm now. We'll park it up in the cleaning bay. We'll clean it off at the end of the night, along with the 826. And once we drop this off, we'll then jump back into the 826 and we'll finish the field off ourselves and get rid of the worker. He's helped us out tremendously. You know, done a very large section of the field for us. But it's now, you know, at a point where we can actually jump back in and take over again. So we'll save ourselves a little bit of cash. Just cut through here again. There we go. This is going to be such a wonderful scene to see, driving along this path with these trees and these houses in autumn. Can't wait for that. That's going to look amazing. This road as well, autumn at night, with the lights on and all these trees sort of in different shades of orange and brown and red. It's going to be, you know, a very, very special little visual. Ooh, just dragged on the side of the bridge there. It's a little clumsy. There we go. Made it back to the farm finally. So yeah, let's park this up in the bay. I've kind of learnt my lesson a little bit. There's that bucket. You see, I was telling you about the bucket. I've actually, you know, recorded this episode in a couple of different stages, and that bucket is now back from reloading. It's just there. Now I can't pick this up, I can't interact with it, but if I knock it, it'll start spinning wildly on a central kind of axis. Same with this oil drum. Again, if we get too close to that and clip that or disturb it, it'll start spinning and cycling up and down through the map like it did last time. Very, very strange to see that happening. And there we go, let's fire the worker. We're going to finish off the episode in our green 826. And this is it. This is the final pass. We have finally completed all of the ploughing. It's actually been a lot more of a chore than I thought it would be today to get all of this done. But it is now pretty much done. Need to do a quick spot check on the edges of the field once we get to the end of this pass here, just to make sure that the worker didn't leave any little patches. There were a couple sort of on that edge over by the trees there that I did spot and grab earlier, but there might be others as well, so I don't think there will be, but it's best just to double check anyway. So let's see. Come on, little 826. There we go. Right. Oh, no, that's not the menu. That's the shop. So yeah, we've got a couple of little spots. You can see, got one just here, and then one over here on that corner as well. So let's see if we can find the one sort of below us first of all. That's going to be somewhere over here by the look of it. That's probably me just being a little careless. Is this it here? Yep, there it is. Look, right in front of us. Just there. So we'll just tag that. I think that one was all on me. And the other one should be over here. And I can see it from here, look. That little notch at the edge. There it is. Boom. Done. Right, so all of our ploughing is complete at last, and these are the last two fields that we need to work. So obviously this is our grass field. We're weeding that as we go. This is our sort of allotments area for the community. All of our crop fields are now planted and in various different stages of growth. They're all in the planting stage at the moment. Obviously these are the most recently planted. We should see the rest of these crops kind of change. Did we actually plant on field 20 in the end? Yes we did, didn't we? I couldn't remember. Brain just shut down on me for a second then. So we've got 18 and 27. We're going to plant corn on these tomorrow once we've cultivated them, and this will be for our forage harvester to sort of devour. Looking forward to using that and really building some big silage this year, and that'll give us a chance to really break out some of the new Ropa gear as well. We're going to be using the Tiger to do our beats, and we are going to be using probably the Mouse 5 to pick them up again, and then we will definitely be using the Navarro mouse, or Navarro I suppose, depending on whether you're pronouncing the W's as a V as the Germans do. So yeah, looking forward to breaking that equipment out and having some fun with that. Nothing left to do now except take this back, clean it off and put the equipment away, then head back to the farm and turn in for the night. So that's it for another episode here on Fendt Farm. Be sure to check out the footage I'm putting up for Pure Farming 2018. It is a very, very good little game. It's a little different to Farming Simulator, so it's a little awkward to try and do a direct comparison. There are areas that you can compare, there are areas that you can't compare. It does have its own little sort of uniqueness in quite a lot of places, but it is a good game. I'm very much enjoying it, and I will be posting some regular footage on that for a fair while, getting different bits up and running. And I will see you back here on Fendt Farm again very soon.